Hey everybody, Gabby here, and welcome to today's episode of A Battle a Day. It's been a while since I've recorded one of these on a Monday, so I hope y'all are doing well, and I'm really excited about the team that we're going to be showcasing today because the team report just went up, and it's a team that got 24th place in the most recent international challenge that happened online. I think it was like 3 or 4 weeks ago now, 2 weeks. I don't know. Time doesn't mean anything still. And it also peaked at 1970 on the Series 16 doubles ladder. So it's a very strong team. It's a very interesting team. And I'm very excited that I'm going to play with it because I haven't used Politoed Kingdra in a very long time. So to be able to use a team that has Politoed Kingdra on it in addition to Zacian is pretty hype. So shout outs to No Face. That's the Japanese Pokemon trainer who created this team. I'll be linking to their team report on Liberty Note down below in the video description. And the whole goal of this team essentially is to use rain to boost the power of Zacian. There's the team report's a little bit hard to understand because Google Translate just isn't the best at Pokemon stuff yet, but a majority of the time your goal is to lead the Thundurus and the Zacian together, and then you have Politoed and Kingdra or Landorus in the back, and then you bring Bronzong essentially if you have a Trick Room matchup. There are a couple situations where you can lead Kingdra and Thundurus together, such as versus Kyogre teams, but I'm not really sure what we're going to get matched up against, so I feel like the odds are we're going to be seeing a Zacian Thundurus lead with this team. So to go through Pokemon by Pokemon, we have a fairly standard Politoed, Drizzle with Aguav Berry for added bulk, Scald as your main attacking move, just so that Politoed doesn't get stuck in any bad situations. Also Clutch Burns. Clutch Burns are always a thing. You also have Perish Song and Helping Hand to help both Zacian, Kingdra, really any of the other Pokemon on the field, because 9 times out of 10, I think you're going to get more damage out of a Helping Hand boost from Politoed than like using Scald. And then Perish Song to ensure that if you do get down into a 3v2 situation, you can just click Perish Song and then you have that win con locked up. Kingdra is the next Pokemon that's really interesting and kind of why I wanted to talk about this team in the first place, because Kingdra is a fairly standard Life Orb set from previous series where Politoed Kingdra was more viable, and I find it very interesting that it's still kind of viable with this kind of setup. You have Muddy Water for spread damage. Some people like to run like Hydro Pump or Scald on Kingdra if you're worried about accuracy, but I've always been in the Muddy Water camp personally. It's a very good move when it does what it's supposed to do. You have Draco Meteor for a very powerful dragon, same type attack boosted attack. You also have that for Max Wormwind, since Kingdra would potentially be the Dynamax target when you lead, for example, Kingdra Thundurus. And then you have Hurricane support, so that you can use it for Max Airstream. You can get speed boost. It's very powerful. And it's interesting as well to look at Kingdra with this kind of setup with Politoed support, because at no point in the team report does it necessarily recommend leading Politoed and Kingdra together. Like, Politoed and Kingdra is the end condition for this team. And again, it's just something very different than how Politoed and Kingdra has been played traditionally, which is kind of hype. So to move on to Zacian, just gonna hop over here. Zacian is the main damage dealer on the team, as one would come to expect. Iron Head will turn into Behemoth Blade because of how Intrepid Sword works, or excuse me, because of how Rusted Sword works. Close combat, play rough, pretty good coverage. If you wanted to replicate this team yourself, you probably could drop play rough for like a substitute or something, since I know that's pretty popular on this side of the globe right now. But I think that with this team in particular, getting the extra damage and having that extra coverage from play rough and close combat together is kind of important. I look at how this team report has been sort of structured, and I feel like Zacian really is the Pokemon that you want to do damage. So dropping a coverage move for a substitute, while it does give you more bulk, isn't necessarily like the best. And, you know, it also is worth calling out the fact that, you know, Politoed next to Zacian, Drizzle will protect it from any fire attacks. And it's just really solid. Like, those two are really good friends, I think, especially in this team report. Moving on to the Thundurus, which is also something that caught my attention. This is a Prankster Thundurus with Citrus Berry. Again, a set that existed pretty commonly, I think, prior to us getting access to Defiant consistently on Thundurus. You know, Thunder for damage and rain, which is, again, a very interesting pick. You know, you could swap it for Thunderbolt, but I think that you do want that extra little bit of damage. But then it also has coverage moves. So Leer to lower defense, that has some great synergy with Zacian, especially going back to the preferred lead of this team with the Thundurus and the Zacian together. Eerie Impulse to lower special attack, that has some really great synergy to protect Zacian from, you know, fire or ground type attacks. And then Taunt to stop Trick Room. It's not exactly the most common Thundurus right now, but it's very bulky. It's very, very supportive, but it's kind of the glue that this team needs, which is pretty cool. And I like it. I think that Leer catches people off guard. And I think that it's exciting to see this team utilize that to benefit Zacian, who is a Pokemon that I think a lot of people sort of look to as being a legendary Pokemon you don't necessarily need to support, if that makes sense. Moving on to Landorus, I'm just going to jump back over here, and, you know, we're just jumping around this morning. Assault Vest, Earthquake Fly, Rock Slide Superpower, you know, pretty great late game coverage, is sort of what this Pokemon is meant for on this team. You have the Intimidate. If you had to, you could Dynamax it and then, you know, get your defensive boosts up with Earthquake. You can get Airstreams up with Fly. Like, there's a few options here. But I think that this Landorus is primarily meant to disrupt, like, sun Pokemon, so like Torkoal, Groudon. I don't think it's necessarily meant to Dynamax, but it's still pretty good. And, you know, something interesting to call out as well is that it's also kind of... I'm like scrolling through the team report and trying to remember what I wanted to say. Apologies. It's very interesting that the Assault Vest is on the Landorus here, and that Landorus is being used as sort of the bulky pivot for the team. I don't think that's necessarily something you see often in rain teams, but it just goes to show you, I think, how rain isn't really the focus of this team, and you really do need that Intimidator to be able to come in and out as it pleases, and Landorus with an Assault Vest is a great way to do that. Last but not least, we have the anti-Trick Room Pokemon. We have Bronzong. It's an interesting set, and admittedly, I don't know how I necessarily feel about this Bronzong. You know, I think that it's cool that it knows Levitate and Leftovers. I think that's probably the right call, but Iron Defense and Body Press is unique. I think it's really good when you have it on against a Trick Room team, especially one of those that features Mimikyu and Calyrex-Ice, for example. You can just go for the Iron defenses in front of it and then just Body Press for like a one-hit knockout. But it's certainly a Trick Room setter that I think has fallen out of favor recently, and I'm very curious if more people will start picking up Iron Defense and Body Press together as a anti-Calyrex manner. I mean, going back to something I featured on Twitch last week, this is very reminiscent of the Turtonator that was on Taka's team that also had Iron Defense and Body Press as synergy, and then, you know, a couple other moves to make it fit the team better. So very, very exciting rain team. I'm really excited to try this out. I saw this pop up on my Twitter feed this morning, and I was like, yes. So we'll see how it goes. And yeah, I don't know. I genuinely don't know. And this is actually the first time I'm recording one of these videos while actively looking at the team report. So I do apologize if it looks like I don't know, my attention's going elsewhere. I really want to try and play this like to the best of my ability off the bat. And I feel like if I reference the team report, even if it is in broken Google Translate, that'll help. Maybe? I don't know. I don't know. I also want to just learn how to write team reports better, and I've been definitely spending a lot of time looking at them and being like, okay, how do I do this? Like, what do people want? What do I want? What do I want? I want to get my face on the other side of the screen because we have a battle. And it looks like we're facing the Trick Room matchup, like, right off the bat. So I guess we will be bringing Bronzong. So, again, I'm just going to follow the team report for this, and we'll get a little creative with it, I think, after. But the team report recommends leading Zacian, Politoed against specifically Calyrex Mimikyu teams. I don't know if my opponent is necessarily going to be bringing Incineroar and Tapu Fini as well, which is what this calls out. But I would think that if my opponent does end up bringing Incin and Tapu Fini, I definitely need to bring some sort of attacker in the back, and this is going to be I think this is going to be a difficult matchup for me to pull off the way I want, but I think we're going to bring Kingdra in the back, and we'll try and preserve Politoed the best we can so we can keep rain up throughout the entire time. Fortunately, my opponent doesn't have a weather setter, so like I don't have to worry as much about that. But if we can save Kingdra as like the late game sweeper with Politoed support, I think that's actually going to set us up really nicely. So it looks like my opponent is leading Incineroar Mimikyu. So I think that's pretty good. I think that's pretty good. We will lose the Intrepid Sword attack boost right off the bat, but I'm not too worried about that. Honestly, I kind of want to just remove Politoed from the field immediately and get Bronzong in. We could... I mean, the other thing we could do is we could possibly, you know, just keep Politoed in, go for the Scald to break the disguise on the Mimikyu. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, let's do that. It's a little bit more switching than I would like, and No. No, I take that back. I don't like that play. I want to do that play, but given that we do have Kingdra Politoed in the back, we really need to be cognizant of how this is going to play late game. And even if we don't break Mimikyu's disguise this turn, I don't think that's necessarily going to be as important. Alternatively, we can also get a better switch in for Zacian next turn, because you know that once Trick Room is up, that Mimikyu is going to want to go for a Will-O-Wisp against Zacian, and that would really slow down a lot of our momentum as well. So, at least I've played this team a lot, so I can talk about what's probably going through my opponent's mind. Alright, so it looks like U-turn probably into Calyrex-Ice. Unless they have something to stop Bronzong, which I guess we'll find out momentarily. And then Trick Room. Nope, that is a Calyrex-Ice. Alright. Alright, you know, this is going okay. I guess the other alternative that my opponent could do this next turn would be to side Shadow Sneak to proc weakness policy. But I think what I have to do is... Oh, okay. We have to play as if we're assuming there's going to be a burn. And I think what I can do... I don't want to ally switch this turn, because we still have a Protect. But we can Iron Defense this turn, get ourselves a +2 defense in front of the Calyrex, and then next turn ally switch, KO the Mimikyu, and kind of take things forward from there. It's also possible that my opponent might go for a quick switch into their Incineroar after the Dynamax on the Calyrex to try and weaken the Zacian a bit more. But I think if I were in their shoes, I would be prioritizing Will-O-Wisp above everything else. So yeah. I think that's the thinking. And depending on what my opponent does, if they do decide to proc weakness policy, or if they don't and they go for Will-O-Wisp, I might actually also consider just switching in Politoed. Okay, Bronzong is... I figured Bronzong would go first, too, so that's really good to know as well. So we get the +2 in before the Calyrex goes for a Knuckle, it looks like, into... Oh, okay, so they're gonna try and stat up, basically, to stop Bronzong from doing what I want to do, which is +2 defense, +2 defense, +2 defense, and forever. Okay, yep. I wonder if he read the ally switch. Interesting. Interesting. Alright, well, Bronzong's burned now, so, like, I guess we could just start going for ally switches and not care. Or I could just reverse Trick Room. You know... Oh, this is interesting. I think I'm gonna go for the ally switch first. And I think I might be getting a little bit greedy. Yeah, we'll go for the KO on Mimikyu, we'll ally switch. As much as I want to go for the big damage on Calyrex, I don't think I should. I really don't think I should. So, yep, there's the weakness policy proc. Okay. Alright, alright. This is, you know, this is okay. It's not great. But this is great. I take that back. This is great. Oh man. That was a good turn. That was a fantastic turn. And now we don't have to worry about Will-O-Wisp anymore. Yes. Okay. Oh, I mean, we are gonna be at a -1 from the Intimidate, because you know it has to be the Incineroar returning at this point. So we have to play down Trick Room, I think. And the question is, how do we best play down Trick Room? And I think we protect Zacian and we wait to switch. Like, we're also essentially playing down our rain turns as well, which is a little bit scary. Like, I don't necessarily like the fact that the number of turns on the board for me right now for rain is equal to the number of turns for Trick Room. And I feel like that's influencing my play a little bit, just because I'm worried that I'm gonna get Politoed in too soon, and then I'm gonna lose Rain for Kingdra. But I guess walking back through that thought process, I don't think Kingdra needs Rain for the speed. I think it would just be a nice to have for the Muddy Water boost, and I haven't Dynamaxed yet, and I can go for Max Geyser, so yeah. I think I'm probably just obsessing a little bit too much over that, and I should definitely try and prioritize getting Zacian out, so that way Zacian isn't intimidated. Yeah. Yeah. I think that's how we play that. Alright. And there's one more turn of Trick Room. I guess I can just start going for body presses too, since the weakness policy is already procced. Yeah, I wonder if he's gonna switch out Incin this turn, predicting my switch. I don't know. It is so tempting though to just get another Iron Defense in while I can. Yeah. I'm gonna go for the second Iron Defense. I think I might be playing this too passively, but at the same time, I really want to make sure Bronzong just doesn't get deleted by a Glacial Lance right now. Or like a combination of a Glacial Lance plus a Flare Blitz or something from the Incin. So yeah, this'll protect us, right? I guess barring a crit, and I said the magic word, which means it did crit. It crit. Well, you know, I said the magic word. I said crit, and it crit, so that's nice. Alright, alright. What's your last Pokemon? At least give me that information, please, so we can plan appropriately. I think that was... Oh, it's you. Alright, well... I probably should have gone on the offense that turn regardless. I am very curious to know how much that would have done without that crit happening, but that happens. Oh, I jinxed it. I commentator cursed myself again. Alright. Well, anyways, Regieleki is going to go for a Electro web to get it so Zacian is actually slower than Calyrex. Actually, no. Well, I don't know. I don't know how fast this Calyrex is. So maybe... You know what? I'm just gonna go for it. Cause then I have Protect available to me if he sends in Incin for the Eleki. And I went for Geyser into the Eleki to get Rain up for Kingdra and to also cover the Incin switch. But it doesn't look like my opponent switched, so that's fine. That's fine. I don't think Kingdra's gonna take too much from an Electro Web, but I could be wrong. Thunderbolt, okay. Oh, does that just... Yeah, that just knocks out. Alright, never mind. GG's. GG's. I should have protected. That crit, man. And it's Focus Sash, too. Well, that's okay. You know, we have all week to figure this team out, so I'm definitely excited to keep playing with it. I think what I want to do is, before my next video, is just kind of sit down and figure out what the magic numbers are for Body Press against Calyrex. So, yeah, it's, like, I'm looking at this, and I don't see any notes on the team report about, like, once you're at +2, this will do this much, so that's something that's worth figuring out, but that was also just a rough crit. That was a rough crit. I am like 90% sure I would have survived had that not happened, but that's Pokemon for you. So this video has gone on for a while. Again, I'll link to the team report that I'm referring to in the description down below, and then you can use Google Translate or whatever to try and parse it out in your own mind. But yeah, thanks again to No Face for writing up this team report. This is really exciting, and I can't wait to see where this goes. If you like this video, if you like my content, please don't forget to drop a comment and like the video down below. It's how the YouTube algorithm works. The more y'all do that, the more my videos get recommended to other people, and that's growth, baby. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, everybody. I hope you're having a fantastic start to your week, and I will see you next time on A Battle a Day. Have a good one, everybody. Bye-bye.